We are going to continue with our breaking news. Secretary of State Antony Blinken has postponed his upcoming trip to China. He was supposed to leave today. Blinken was set to meet with President Xi Jinping and other officials to discuss the war in Ukraine, an attempt to smooth over growing tensions in the region. The decision comes after the discovery of a suspected Chinese spy balloon that's been flying at a high altitude over the U.S. for a couple of days now. The Pentagon began tracking the balloon over Montana, and Chinese officials have said that they'll look into the discovery. So I want to bring in CBS News correspondent Christina Ruffini now, who's been following this story for us. So this is actually some pretty big news. I imagine this trip was very important, very well planned. I, for one, was surprised that the Secretary of State was meeting with Xi Jinping. I thought that was really interesting that he was having such a high-level meeting. What was on the agenda?
Well, and they just announced that, too. I mean, that came out, I believe, yesterday, as they said, he's going to have. It's not unusual for the Secretary of State to meet with the head of state when they go to different countries. But Xi Jinping wasn't necessarily a given, right? Blinken was going over there to meet his counterpart. And one of the reasons he was doing that is because there was never really a deliverable expected from this meeting. That's one of the things they were pretty clear about from the beginning. They weren't going there thinking they were going to come out with this big bipartisan agreement or even a paper statement, but they were going because these are the two biggest superpowers in the world, and they need to be on speaking terms for a variety of reasons, not to mention the ones you just talked about, including the conflict in Ukraine, Taiwan. There's just a whole bunch of geopolitical things, sanctions against China. There are issues that need to be discussed, and whether or not these two countries particularly like each other, they have to find a way to talk. And that's something Blinken has been very upfront about. And the Chinese agree to that as well. So there needs to be an ongoing dialogue. And that itself was the objective of this trip. And now the trip has been called off.
So, Christina, what's the subtle or not so subtle message here from the U.S.?
Well, it's interesting because you have to assume, this balloon didn't just show up in Montana. It's now over the West, but you have to assume they knew it was there, right? You have to assume they've been tracking it since it came in through Canadian airspace a couple days ago. So it's been kind of simmering in the background, right, as Blinken is getting ready to take off. And I don't know if you guys saw our colleague Catherine Herridge's piece this morning. She, an expert who said, look, it's probably less about the intelligence gathering of, this actual balloon, so much as Chinese are watching how we react to it, right? So what is the reaction time? How does the public react? What does the government do? Do they shoot it down? Do they not shoot it down? Do you scramble jets? Did it disrupt airspace? All of these are questions that the Chinese can study and can answer and can look at strategically to help inform their policy decisions when they come into conflict with the U.S. objectives in the future. But the timing of it is, of course, suspicious because this trip has been scheduled for quite some time. This is not something you can do overnight. These trips, especially to China, take months and months and months. People have been applying for visas. I just got my visa yesterday. I obviously will not be going. But these things take a long time to plan, and this trip was a long time coming. So it's significant, the timing of this incident, balloon, whatever you want to call it, and the fact that even though the U.S. has said that there's no threat and they're not going to shoot it down because they're worried at the moment anyway of falling debris and that it could pose a threat to people on the ground, they're obviously taking this incident seriously enough to cancel this meeting.
You know what I also thought, Christina, is I wondered if the announcement of the sort of expanded cooperation between the U.S. and the Philippines was also perhaps a factor here. The U.S. did not have a good relationship with Duterte, and we have a new president, Marcos, and from what we learned about this expanded cooperation, some of the areas that they're looking at, bases that they're looking at, are on the side closer to Taiwan.
Well, right, and that's not new either. And Secretary Austin went on this trip, and they announced, the Philippines have said that they are welcoming a military permanently into bases in their country, which has been met with a bit of resistance in the Philippines because it does potentially make them more of a target for China. But that's part of this pivot to the Pacific that, frankly, the last three administrations have said they are going to do, and then they get sidetracked every single time. We heard this from Obama. It didn't happen. We heard it from Trump. It didn't really happen. And we heard it from Biden. And I've posed this question to Blinken and other officials, and I've said, look, we've heard this before. Are you really going to focus on China? But it's come to a point where there has to be some sort of strategic pivot. And that's not just something you're seeing from the US, it's something you're seeing from other allies in the region. You know, we had this AUKUS agreement where we're selling these nuclear subs to the Australians. There's been a ramping up or an attempt to ramp up of the presence in the region, and that's partially because of Taiwan, and that's partially just because of strategic countering. You know, the U.S. wants to make sure that if China makes a move against our allies or against anyone, we have the facilities, the U.S. has the ability to counter that. So my take with the Austin announcement is the U.S. wanted to announce that on the front of the summit so that they went into the summit with, you know, from a position of power. That you see this a lot between the summits. Each side tries to kind of get something that they think is going to give them momentum going into these negotiations. And even though they weren't necessarily negotiations, the last time Blinken met with his Chinese counterparts was that summit in Alaska, and we were there. I don't know if you remember, it turned into, you know, in the relatively calm world of diplomacy, some fireworks where both sides were, you know, kind of yelling things at each other, and the cameras got kicked out, and then we had to pull the cameras back in, and it went on and on and on. I mean, listen, for us, that was like the Super Bowl, but it obviously was not the most productive meeting, although I did think they managed to get some things done in Alaska. They have not met face to face since that meeting. So this was going to be, you know, the next coming together of some of those same counterparts to try to work on. There are some issues where the U.S. and China can cooperate. One of them is environmental. There are some economic places where they think they can make progress. Sanctions are obviously a huge deal for both countries and something that needed to be discussed. And again, now this is off, and it's for a variety of reasons. And I think in the days and weeks to come, hopefully we'll have some more clarity on what those are.
You have such a depth of knowledge on this, Christina. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, guys.